You were not meant to be a slave to the grind. You were not meant to trade your life force for money. You can escape gravity. You can unlock your life. You got this. Let's go.
Hello and welcome to Unlock Your Life. Jennings here, your host. Guys, I was driving down the interstate, and along the interstate, there are 4 houses built all in a row, and they're pretty close to each other, maybe 20 feet apart. It's kind of odd, and they're right on the interstate, facing the interstate. Nice big homes, probably 3,000 square feet or so, and they were built by Schumacher Homes. And you may have heard of the company Schumacher Homes, you may have not, but Schumacher Homes is based out of Ohio, and they are a custom home company, and their pitch is, we'll build a custom home on your lot. And I don't know exactly all the ins and outs of their business, but I think that they essentially build, somewhat custom. Like, they've got their plans, you can modify them to a degree, but I don't know that they build like truly high-end custom homes. But they have this model where you can go into their showroom, you can go into their homes, and you can pick out what you want. You can modify it to some degree, and the price point is really attractive. As a former custom home builder, I know their price point is really good. And so I'm driving by these homes, and I'm speaking about myself as a former younger person when I was in construction. So if you don't know, I ran a construction company from when I was 19 to about 34 years old. So a long time I was building custom homes and renovations. And I remember driving by there and just being like pissed, like super mad that they were here, that they were competing with me. Now they built these like 4 custom homes right on I-26, like right in my town. And they were making my life harder, right? Because that was kind of my price point, was $400,000 to $600,000 custom homes, nice custom homes, but not over the top. And we did build some outliers, up there towards $1 million, but that was my bread and butter. And so I began to create an alibi in my head, right? I began to think about what they did wrong, right? They would go over budget, or maybe they would go over schedule, or the quality of their build wasn't as good as mine, or it wasn't truly custom and you couldn't do everything you wanted, and you had to stay inside of the Schumacher Homes box. But at the same time, I had to look at the data, and these guys were killing me. I mean, they were killing me on price. They were killing me on volume. A lot of clients really, really liked what they had to offer, right? They could go into the home, they could touch, feel, see the countertops, the cabinets, they could see what they were getting, they could pick it all out, and they could get it built for cheaper, right? And cheaper is attractive to a certain demographic of people. And that was my reaction, right? My reaction was that they're not as good as me, or I had to make up an alibi in my head as to why these guys were eating my lunch. And it got me thinking about how we are always looking at people that are ahead of us or beyond us and making up alibis. Not everybody, but a lot of people. I would say 90 to 95% of people do this, myself included, where we see someone who has major success and we make up an alibi as to why we don't have that same success, why we aren't in that same position. So maybe it is, oh, well, they cheated their way there. Or maybe they don't have a good family life, right? They're spending all their time working and they're not paying attention to their wife and kids, and they've ruined their family life. And so I'm still better than them in that regard. Or maybe it's, they've cheated people to get there. They've done it in an immoral way, or they're pillaging the environment to get there, or whatever it is. We need to have an alibi, because if we have an alibi, where, yeah, they had better opportunity than me. They were in the right place at the right time. Their dad was rich. Their mom was rich. It takes money to make money. They already had money. Somehow, the playing field was not equal, and that's why they're beating me, right? It's out of my control, and that's why they're beating me, is because of this just random reason that I'm making up in my head. Except it seems real, right? It seems very real at the time. But we're all self-made, right? We're all where we are, except the only people that talk about that and brag about that are the successful, right? The poverty-stricken, the mediocre, they are self-made as well. Now, I know this might be a difficult thing to hear, but they're self-made as well. They're just not admitting it. They're not proud of it. They're not talking about it. And so there's got to be an alibi behind that. There's got to be a reason behind that. Because if there's a reason, then they don't have to do anything about it. Right? So going back to Schumacher Homes, looking at what these guys had done, right? I mean, they had a plan. They had figured out, these are the 4 homes we build. These are the 6 homes we build. These are the plans we build. This is exactly how much the base model costs. This is exactly how much each upgrade costs. This is exactly how much we can pay in labor. This is exactly how much we can pay in lumber. You know what? We're going to get national contracts. We're going to buy in bulk. We're going to drive the prices down. We're only going to build on this certain type of lot because this meets our parameters for location and the conditions we're going to need to build on this lot. This is the timelines that we're going to hit. This is how we're going to market, right? We're going to put together all these marketing materials. We're going to have a marketing agency help us understand the psychology of the buyers. We're going to have salespeople there. We're going to be open on Saturdays. We're going to be open on Sundays so people can browse and pick out their home plan. We're going to get them excited. We're going to do these pre-deposits. We're going to walk them through our 10-step sales process. And guys, I'm making this up. I don't know Schumacher Homes process that well, but I'm just saying they had it together. And a client liked it. The clients liked it, right? Because when you came to me and asked me, well, I want to build this home and how much is it going to cost? I could ballpark you. I could say, oh, it's going to be $200 a foot or $300 a foot or whatever. Depends on what you pick out. Well, how much is this? How much is this? How much is that? I'm like, I don't know because I don't know your house and I don't know your lot and there's so many unknown variables and there was so much uncertainty. It was really hard for me to pin things down because I didn't have everything pre-figured out. And so there was a massive demographic of clients that they didn't like that. Okay. They wanted to know, and they wanted to know now, and they wanted to know without making a big commitment and building a relationship with me. And they just wanted to know up front. And so in my defense, we were going for a different clientele, a little bit higher end, a little bit more hand holding. But I'll say Schumacher Homes has locations all over the United States. Schumacher Homes builds thousands and thousands and thousands of homes. There's no way that I could say that I was doing better than them or competing with them even. I'm here talking about Schumacher Homes on my podcast. Nobody's talking about my old construction company. I guarantee you that because it was not that impressive. And so when I look at the cold, hard facts, I see I was not practicing the secret to success, the secret to as much wealth, riches, opportunity, what have you, as you want. And I'm going to get into that. What is that secret? What is that philosophy that I was not practicing? Here it is, guys. You might want to write this down. Our rewards in life will always be an exact proportion to our contributions or our service. I'm going to say it again. Our rewards in life will always be an exact proportion to our contributions, our service. So looking at my sales process, looking at the product that I was offering, I wasn't really willing to up my contribution. I wasn't willing to make it better. I wasn't willing to make it easier. I wasn't willing to make it more attractive. I wasn't even thinking about it, right? I was just trying to get the next job done and move on to the next job and build the client and not get fired and find the next sub, right? I was not thinking way down the road, right? I was just thinking about the next week, the next month, versus Schumacher Holmes was thinking strategically, okay, we want to be into the Charleston market. We need to buy this land on the interstate. We need to build these 4 houses. We need to have a marketing team. We need to have a plan. We need to be able to let people pick out exactly what features they want. We need to know the pricing for them up front. We need to be able to beat all of our custom home competitors by hundreds of thousands of dollars on price so that we can just dominate the market. And they had brought a lot of value, right? They were contributing more than I was, a lot more. And because they were contributing more and generating a better product, they were winning. So we think about a company like Amazon, and Amazon generated a product where it's like you can buy literally anything in the world. You can have it in 2 days, and you can have it at the absolute cheapest price for the highest quality product, right? You're going to get the best quality product at the lowest price, the fastest, immediately, pretty much immediately. And they didn't stop there. They're like, well, let's do Amazon Prime. Let's do videos, and let's do streaming, and let's do books, and let's do all the stuff that they do. Let's do a delivery service, right? Let's build our own fleet of vehicles to deliver our own products so we can control that part of the supply chain. Like, they don't stop. And they're continuing to add more contributions to the world. And so look at the way that they're being rewarded. I mean, it's huge. In a monetary sense, it's huge. And Schumacher Holmes was being rewarded in a monetary sense in a huge way because they were contributing a lot, right? I mean, if you have lots of locations, lots of employees, lots of homes you're building, lots of clients you're servicing, you are contributing a lot. And so your rewards in life are in exact proportion to that. Whereas I was building 1 house at a time, 2 houses at a time. I was doing it the same way I'd always done it since I was 19. I really wasn't growing, modifying, shifting, changing, improving. And then when something came along, it was a franchise, Alair Homes, and it was a much better way of doing things. To my credit, I jumped on that and I changed. And I changed the way things were going. And I did. I started to make more money. It started to become easier. I started to bring more value to the client and was able to turn that into a valuable business that somebody else wanted to buy me out because I just didn't want to build houses anymore. So what is a breakdown of that? A breakdown of our rewards in life will always be an exact contribution or proportion to our contribution. How do we break that down and make it more applicable? Well, that is essentially comprised of 3 different ways. So you've got 1, the need for what you do. So however high the need for what you do is, the higher the compensation is going to be. So you think about like a brain surgeon or a heart surgeon. Your dad or your wife has a heart attack or you have a heart attack. I mean, the need for what you do, the need for that heart surgeon, pretty high up there, right? Housing, people need a place to live. Like, it's pretty high up there. Food, water. I mean, like, the need is there, right? You got to have a need for what you do. And sometimes people don't know they need it, right? There's new products created all the time, and you're solving a problem that people don't even know they have. But once you solve it, they're like, wow, that is much, much easier. You think about a cell phone. I mean, it used to be pretty difficult to communicate, like when you weren't in your house. You weren't in your house with your landline. It's like, oh, just meet me at the fair. Well, you had to have a specific time. We're going to meet at the booth at 2:15 p.m. And if they're not there and something happened, right? Maybe they're running late, or maybe they got in a car accident, or maybe it's really hard. Like, you're going to miss them and you're not going to see them all day, and it's going to be a missed opportunity. And it was a big problem, right? Not being able to communicate if you're not tied to your landline was a big problem. We didn't really know it was a big problem until they invented the cell phone, and then boom. It's like, oh my gosh, this solved a massive problem. There's definitely a need for that. And now everyone has a phone. By and large, everybody has a phone because there's a big need for it. Okay. So the need for what you do, your ability to do it, like how good you are at it, right? Continual improvement, How good are you? And then the degree of difficulty in replacing you. Are you a commodity or are you like irreplaceable? If you have going back to the medical example, it's like if you have a special condition and there's only one specialist, there's only one guy who's the best in the world at this, that's the guy you want operating on you. If you're trying to build a high-end custom home, right? You're going to go to the guy who's already building the $5, $10, $20 million custom home in that area, who has the sub base, who's plugged in, he can get stuff done. He knows all the local officials. He knows the soil conditions. He knows all the stuff to get that $20 million mansion built, right? And the degree of replacing that guy is very difficult. There maybe is only one or two guys in the area that build homes of that level. So how difficult is it to replace you? Because you have a high ability to do it, and what you do is in a high need. Okay, I'm going to go back to another example. Y'all, we built a course. Okay, about a year and a half ago, we built a course on how to build or how to buy multifamily property. My First Million in Multifamily is my Facebook group, and there was a lot of people in there, and a lot of people were asking us to mentor them, to teach them. And I would sit there and talk to these people for hours, a lot of times, just explaining how we did this and how we did that. And one, it took a lot of time. I couldn't do that with everybody. Like, it just became exhausting. And then secondly, a lot of people would not even do anything with the information, which was very discouraging. You know, you spend an hour talking on the phone to somebody and then they don't implement anything, and they really just were curious, and they really are never going to have the commitment to do anything. And that just doesn't feel good. And it was frustrating. So we decided to build a course. But when I was building this course, I was thinking in kind of a broken mindset. I was thinking, yeah, I just want to build this course, record everything, shoot it out to these people, sell it, make some money, and be done with it, right? I don't want beyond that to do anything. You know, I was thinking in a very limited fashion. But I was creating value, right? I was contributing to society. I was making something that could theoretically help people. So we made this course, and it was awesome. Like, it was very well put together. We poured our heart and soul into it, a lot of good information, and we put it out there. And it did sell, and it sold very well. A lot of people bought it, but a lot of people also asked me, Jennings, what's next, right? I want mentoring. I want coaching. I want ongoing training. I want more. And it got me thinking, like, well, okay, if that's truly going to help them, then maybe we should look into doing something like that. And so we created this private Facebook group called the Deal Room. So if you bought the course, you could get into the Deal Room, and there was a monthly fee to be in the Deal Room. And that was another layer of contribution. And because we did that, now we're selling the course, but we're also making a little bit of money every month off of the Deal Room fee. And so there were a few people in there, and people would come in, and then people would drop out, and some people would stay, some people would leave, and just was kind of, I mean, it was good, but it wasn't super valuable. So I started looking at the Deal Room and thinking, how can I make the Deal Room more valuable? What can I do to make the Deal Room better? How can I create more contribution to these people that are trying to close their first multifamily deal or closing their next multifamily deal? So we generated like a deal sprint. So we had an 8-week program where it was like, you get assigned to 1 or 2 accountability partners, and you pair up with them, you lay out your goals that you're going to achieve, and you hold each other accountable, and you go through this 8-week deal sprint. So we did that, and it was great, right? It added contribution, it added value, it added stickiness. More people wanted to join the group to do the deal sprints. However, we found that it wasn't super effective as far as people would flake out, their accountability partner wouldn't show up. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't work. And we had to go back to, well, how do we add more contribution? And so what we did was we created a framework for the sprint. We created coaches for the sprint. We created Deal Room like designated sprint leaders, and we put people in teams of 8 to 10. Now there's a bigger group. There's going to be more traction. Even if a few people drop out of the sprint, there's still motivation there. There's still excitement there. And you have a designated leader who doesn't have to be the answer man who knows everything, but they are leading the charge. So that added more contribution to the sprint and it made it more valuable. We got more results. Then we built another mini course on exactly how to raise capital, right? There was a lot of people that were interested in that, and we dug deeper and made another 8-video free add-on course and gave that to the deal room for more contribution. Then I started planting my network into the deal room, like planting my loan sponsors, planting my capital raisers, planting my deal flow people, and growing the network and net worth of the deal room. And so now, I mean, it's crazy. Like, everybody wants to be in this group. We've gotten to the point now where we don't even accept members. Like, it's closed. I mean, we're closed 60 days out. There's people that are applying to get in 60, 90 days down the road because of the contribution of what we've done. But the beginning, the old Jennings was like, well, I just want to build a course and I want to be done. I don't want to contribute too much. I'm being honest. I didn't want to contribute more than that. And when I realized that's the key, right? That's the key to truly helping people. That's the key to really making money and being rewarded by this, is make it more valuable, make it awesome, make it better, and keep on working on it and keep on making it better. So I'm back to the drawing board, right? I'm reading a book and talking about the ideas of how can you make your products better. And so something I hear is people struggle with scripts. Like, what do I say to a property owner when I call them? What if I get the property manager? What if I get the property manager's assistant? How do I talk to the owner? How do I make an off-market deal happen? And so to me, it's second nature. I know how to talk to a seller. I know what to say. But I thought, okay, well, let me script it out. Like, if this happens, do this. If this happens, do that. Here's what you do here. This is how you overcome this objection. This is how you get to an offer. This is how you get a off-market property under contract, and just spelling it out, spelling out A, B, C, D, E, F, G, how to talk with a seller in these scripts and exactly what to say. Because there is some psychology to that. And boom, major value, major appreciation. The deal room loved it. And it just makes it even more desirable for the people that are not in the deal room to get in the deal room and be a part of that. And so I'm seeing this in my own life where it's like, when I commit to adding more contributions, adding more service, adding more value, and really thinking about what do they need and how can I radically help them, that is when you get rewarded in life. Because where you are right now, I want you to look inward. Look at the situation you're in with your finances, with your business, with your family, with your wife, with your kids, or your spouse. Like, where you are right now is in exact proportion to the service and contribution that you've given, right? It is a perfect, excruciatingly accurate mirror of the contributions that you have made to date. So maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it's not. But it is a mirror. Going back to the alibi, are you making alibis? Are you making an alibi right now? Are you thinking, well, what Jennings is saying doesn't apply to me because of this, 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 and this? Are you? We are all self-made. Only the successful admit it. So guys, I'm going to wrap it there. That's my show for today. But I want to challenge you. Look at what you're doing. Look at where you're going. And remember, if you want to increase your income, you want to increase your rewards in life, you want to unlock your life, you want more, you've got to increase your contributions. You've got to increase your service. You've got to increase the need for what you do, the ability to do it, and the degree of difficulty in replacing you. You've got to get better. So, appreciate you. If you're enjoying the show, love to see a review, love to see a 5-star review. It helps people. It bumps the algorithm up for the listeners. And it could mean something to somebody who's deciding what to listen to next. They see your review and you're helping them. You're making a contribution. You're making a contribution to me, yes, but you're also making a contribution to everybody else that could possibly see that. Right? I talk about this on social media. Right? Be a giver, be a contributor. You see a post that you like, well then like it, comment on it, say something about it, contribute versus I'm just a taker, because that bleeds into everything, right? How you do anything is how you do everything. So if you're enjoying the show, hit me up with a review. I would appreciate it. I read every single one of them. It means a lot. Share the show on your social, share the show to your friends, and spread the word, right? So have a great week, guys. And remember to unlock your life. Peace.
This is thepodcastfactory.com.